Greetings, everyone. So, earlier today, I saw Spider Man Brand New Day, the latest installment in the Spider Man film franchise, and the fourth overall starring Tom Holland's variant of the character leading the cast, which includes the likes of Zendaya, Jacob Batalon, on, and Mark Ruffalo, as well as including in newcomers such as as the Punisher, played by a John Bernthal, as well as Sadie Sink. I will not be spoiling who she plays in there. Once you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And this time, it's Destin Daniel Cretton of Shang-Chi fame at the helm, and I gotta say, his his approach to material ranks this among the best incarnations in the franchise, and cements Holland's character as one of the all-time great versions of it. To me, it definitely delivered the promise of being a street level adventure, and definitely a proving a further one of my think the enduring appeal of the character. Spider-Man represents who we want to be as people. Peter Parker and other people who wear the mask represent who we truly are. So let's begin. The story picks up about 4 years after the events, and so we're No Way Home left off, so just a little bit less as than how we dealt with it out of universe. I mean, as Peter has devoted more and more of his time to being Spider-Man, helping keep the peace in New York City alongside a whole gaggle of villains, including finally getting the payoff for the Scorpion after being set up in Homecoming about 9 years ago. Oh, he develops a new array of powers from like the spider blood in his DNA, from that fateful day he got bitten, as well as an unseen force which can cause those it comes in contact with to act quite strangely. Admitted, and also it also deals with the fallout of No Way Home in all respects. And even though he is reluctant to get close to who those he had to wipe the memories of again, he does still clearly care for them, even though he can't be part of their life anymore. Or and also like how, but to be fair, a lot of the humor is still intact, and how it definitely has reached a point where they obviously lampshade things that can't dance around, like how Bruce is trying to balance his life as a physicist with also being Incredible Hulk and all. Oh, they say not spoilers. See like the Savage Hulk aspect of the character is back, given how you see in the advertising. Given how the Professor Hulk persona, which I really actually rather like, especially one of the aspects of like the Peter David stories, where he's where it's nice to see that incorporated in Salem film, and how they do the best to contain in anything from like a simple whole bank robber to a bunch of ninjas trying to break into the raft or any other facility that the Amazon Control has on their hands, and is definitely treated as such. And I also kind of like how, in a lot of the ways, he's just a little time he knew who both the Maguire and Garfield variants, the character that Holland's versions managed to incorporate elements like learning how to focus his newer organic webbing powers. Nice to see those back after a long time. And also, oh, even though he not have like the resources is of Stark Industries or other financiers anymore, he built a new OS and designed new suits. I still I like the design. Definitely has very much like a John Romita vibe about it, both senior and junior. And machine washable, darling. That's a useful feature. And of course, we also get a very cheeky scene in the elevator where he he has to put on something while his suit's in the wash and mistakenly grabs someone else's sweats by mistake. Oops. Likewise, it is clear that this is a big transitional film, not just being part of the road to Doomsday and Secret Wars, but also for the future of the character. My understanding is that both Pascal and Feige had talks about bringing more characters from like the Sony timeline into the main MCU timeline, especially since apart from the Venom trilogy making decent money and actually being actually a solid take on Lethal Protector personally, it it was kind of a non-starter, and likewise, I's His Holiness was interested wanting to pass the torch to a live-action version of Miles, in the same way, that it was passed to him in years past. I'm still thinking, that I wouldn't mind a lesser-known actor. I'm intrigued by who they cast as like the new Black Panther going forward for that third film, and failing that, to keep that other alumni from Stranger Things going, Kane McLaughlin, and I'm not gonna say how, but it is giving me a lot of confidence in how the mutant saga will be the next big storyline for the franchise, as to reshape what comes next with a mixture of both legacy actors and entirely new ones shaping up their take on the X-Men. I actually really like that idea. Yeah, I mean, especially some of the original ones also contemplating retirement, not just from the roles, but from acting as a whole. And they want to keep that storyline going until 2042, at which point, and I'll be 50. So, I guess, like I keep saying, that's me just fine. Because even with a very interesting climate for comic book movies, going up, down, and sideways in terms of quality, and financial success, as I've argued before, No Brain is bulletproof. There'll be other times to talk about more why. But it isn't entirely clear to me, that based on the amount of people in the theater I saw this in, and while I don't entirely expect this to do like the crazy numbers that No Way Home did in 2021, factoring in everything happening then even, it's clear to me that this is going to pull in numbers. I mean, the max capacity is 125 currently. It was close to filling that. Count on that. And between the success of this, the Odyssey, as well as the hype behind the third and final chapter of Dune's main storyline, I resign myself to this idea. This is clearly become the world of both Tom Holland and Zendaya. We are simply living in it. I also like how they included hooded elements from the Insomniac games as well, where especially an approach to how they put a modern spin on all the characters iconography in the comics as well. I mean, and of course, it totally makes sense to me, hey, that at in keeping with the Lego minifigures and Naruto posters on its walls, that Ned would be pro-physical in this whole situation, and and I see that as someone who likes a hybrid approach to what they consume, and thinks this movie is a bad idea, but I get ahead of myself. I will definitely have to look up who the DP and editor are, but I will say that Michael Giacchino coming back to the music was a great choice. Always even finding, as per usual, well, finding ways to incorporate the medics from the '60s as well as the right blend of the offbeat and dramatic in there. Like I continually said, these are dramatic yet strange times. They call for dramatic yet strange entertainments, to say the least. And I can definitely say, hey, that whatever role Spidey plays in Doomsday, as with those he comes in contact with, it'll be interesting. Holden's even expressed interest in returning the Failure crossing with Bernthal's version of Punisher, especially he's not against being a bit more sweary as Frank often tends to be. And even though they have different approaches to how their losses shape them, um, um, Frank sees himself as having nothing left to lose. Peter sees himself as giving everything he can, and the two actually work together actually a bit more often than you might think with the comics adaptations. I actually really like that mission in that game I used to have on PSX from Neversoft even. And just as well, might as well wrap this up. I think I'll post the coming attraction on community tab again this time. Overall, Spider-Man Brand New Day turns the clock to zero. Honey spends all the money and delivers one of the best standalone installments when not just with Holden as a character, but also in the entire franchise. Alright, I mean, I definitely intend to see it again as soon as I can. Super Troopers 3 can wait for now, and I give it a superior 4 out of 4, 5 out of 5. And I'll see you all again very soon. Take care, everyone.